Every Jack Daniel's whiskey ranked. Bourbon Junkies video recap. Distillery Dudes. As you watch our Every Jack Daniel's Whiskey Ranked Bourbon Junkies video recap, keep in mind that at distillerydudes.com, we're just a small team of 2 whiskey and bourbon enthusiasts who love sharing awesome content with our readers. In this review, we'll delve into the highlights of the Bourbon Junkies video and discover which Jack Daniel's expressions stood out to Dan and Sean and why. If you don't know the Bourbon Junkies or haven't watched their video, head to their channel in the link below. The Blind Tasting Challenge. The guys tried 11 different Jack Daniel's whiskeys and each rated them from 0-100 and then totaled their score. Bottom tier. Every whiskey tasting session is bound to have its winners and losers. In the case of the Bourbon Junkies ranking, the Triple Mash, Gentleman Jack, and Old No. 7 expressions found themselves in the bottom 3 spots. Number 11. Jack Daniel's Triple Mash. 87 points. Taking last place by 1 point was Jack Daniel's Triple Mash. Sean didn't like the nose on this at all, while Dan seemed to be on the fence. Moldy Watermelon was the comparison Sean gave to this one. Very different thoughts on this one between the two guys. Dan gave it a 72 while Sean gave it a 15. Number 10. Gentleman Jack. 88 points. Chocolate flavor initially stood out to both Dan and Jack. They agreed the proof was low and that you could almost feel the water in this whiskey. Overall, it didn't live up to the others. Number 9. Jack Daniel's Old No. 7 to 95 points. Both Sean and Dan agreed this one was hyper-typical Jack Daniel's. Great flavor, but the finish is not there. They nailed it when they said, "This is your typical Jack Daniel's whiskey." When we think Jack Daniel's, most think Old No. 7. They nailed it. Middle of the pack. While the focus is often on the top and bottom of the rankings, the whiskeys that landed in the middle of the pack deserve some attention too. Number 8. Jack Daniel's Bonded. 100 points. A perfect middle-of-the-road score. Dan called out a sweet smoky mesquite smell. Sean wasn't a huge fan of the whiskey right off the bat. Sean didn't like this one as much, which brought the score down a bit. Number 7. Jack Daniel's Bottled in Bond. 109 points. Again, banana notes were mentioned right off the bat. Dan thought it was more of an artificial banana taste though. Number 6. Number 27. Maplewood finish. 133 points. We start to see a jump in scores and quality here. It was noted by Dan that this smelled like a banana peel, while Sean stated it was close to a banana peep. The first thing they noticed after tasting was the lower proof. Dan noted that the finish was lacking, but it was an easy drinker. Number 5. Single Barrel Select. 150 points. Marshmallows and bananas were 2 notes that the guys pointed out with this whiskey. They called this a classic Jack Daniel's taste. Sean noted that this was a crushable drink. The top 4. After the initial round of blind tasting, 4 whiskeys emerged as the cream of the crop: Coy Hill, Jack Daniel's 12-year, Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Proof, and Jack Daniel's 10-year expressions. Number 4. Jack Daniel's 10-year. In round 1, it got 182 points, while in round 2, it got 162 points. Rounding out the final 4, the 10-year expression displayed the perfect balance of maturity and vibrancy. Dan said this one might be the best on the nose and compared it to the most American breakfast ever. Number 3. Single Barrel Proof. In round 1, it got 170 points, while in round 2, it got 180 points. Just missing out on one of the top 2 spots, this high-proof single-barrel variant still earned significant praise. Although it came across as much different than the others, both Sean and Dan loved the more savory notes, which would then fade into sweetness. Number 2. Jack Daniel's 12-year. In round 1, it got 198 points, while in round 2, it got 185 points. The second-place finisher, the 12-year expression, showcased the effects of extended aging, which resulted in a well-balanced and refined whiskey. Lots of oak notes were picked up by Sean, while Dan mentioned cheesecake and caramel-drizzled bananas. Number 1. Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Special Release. Coy Hill. In round 1, it got 198 points, while in round 2, it got 191 points. The crown champion of the tasting, Coy Hill, undoubtedly impressed Dan and Sean with its outstanding flavors and complexity. Both called it one of the best whiskeys they have ever had. One standout quote from the video was, "Jack Daniel's at a higher proof is just better." This observation could be a game changer for those seeking a more intense and flavorful experience from their whiskey. Whether you're new to the world of whiskey or a seasoned connoisseur, this video provides valuable insights and highlights the rich diversity of Jack Daniel's offerings. What do you think? Do you agree with these rankings? Leave a comment below with what the Bourbon Junkies got right and wrong.